welcome to the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute's Sankofa Talks. My name is Bianca Velez, Director of Communications for CCCADI, and it is my pleasure to welcome you back to one of our virtual programs. CCCADI's series, Sankofa Talks, is our platform to bring intergenerational conversations to the public. Through each talk, we take time to retrieve and honor our diaspora's history, reflect on its contributions to our present, and recognize the power it has to inform how we move forward into the future. For this installment of our series, we've collaborated with Ashe Cultural Arts Center, representing New Orleans, Louisiana, to bring you this in-depth conversation about Mardi Gras traditions. We know mainstream depictions of Mardi Gras in New Orleans equate to wild partying in the French Quarter, often omitting the rich Black culture of the holiday. So through the lenses of our guest speakers, NOLA natives steeped in carnival tradition, this talk will counter that narrative and explore the heart of Mardi Gras past and present. I hope you'll enjoy this program and take your support for CCCADI a step further by making a gift of any amount. You can visit cccadi.org and click on the donate button to help us advance our 45-year-old legacy and mission of achieving cultural equity and racial and social justice for African descendant communities through arts and culture. We also invite you to explore and support the Ashe Cultural Arts Center as they use art and culture to support human, community, and economic development. And you can visit ashenola.org to learn more. Without further ado, I present to you Sankofa Talks, Mardi Gras Traditions with Alsetwa Amor Amenkum and Michelle Gibson.
Hello, hello. Hey, Alsetwa Amor Amenkum. Hey, Michelle. How are you?
Girl, you know, it's that month, the Black Month. So everybody got Black History programs. And Mardi Gras is March 1st, so it's a great time to be in New Orleans. Great time to be an artist.
You know what? When hasn't it not been a good time to be in New Orleans? Just to be honest. You know, like every single second, every year after year, the energy doesn't change, right? As far as the culture.
Right.
So we excited to be on this Sankofa Talks. And I just have to say, this woman that I am having a conversation with right now is not a stranger to me by any means. I done had her as an artistic director. So I know other sides, 5, 6, 7, 8. Definitely. So, okay. So I'm going to start. I'm just going to read a little bit about you. You mind?
You can do that. It's fine.
Okay. So, Asetwa Amor Amenkum was led by the quest for knowledge, interest in African retention and African American cultural expressions, and social and cultural activism to participate in the Black Indian masking culture. She is masked with Big Chief Donald Harrison Sr. until his death. In 2006, she accepted Big Chief Donald Montana's invitation to serve as his queen with Yellow Pocahontas. Asetwa uses her role as Big Queen to increase self-esteem, to celebrate African American women's contributions to New Orleans' indigenous cultural expression, religion, and spirituality. She received the 2009 Mardi Gras Indian Hall of Fame's Queen's Choice Rising Star Award. It is with honor that I say those words. Ashe.
Ashe. Well, I'm not going to read anything because my relationship with Michelle has always been spiritual, artistic, community. I could say a lot about her academic achievements, her achievements in the artistic world, but what strikes me the most about her is her passion and her commitment to allowing her body to be used as the vehicle through which the ancestors speak. It many artists are motivated by many different things, and I'm just honored to have been on this journey with her. When I met Michelle, she was already trained as a dancer, so I didn't have to teach her a whole lot in terms of technical stuff. However, she was open to what I had to pour into her spirit, and she was able to manifest it in a way that was beyond my dreams. And then having the opportunity to teach her at Tulane University, as a student getting her degrees, as she has successfully moved on in so many arenas in that world. Knowing someone like that, where I can have the opportunity to feed their soul and then feed their belly too, because she loves my vegan gumbo with the mushrooms. So it is an honor, for me to be on this song with her. I just sent her a shout out on Facebook about this Zulu function that they had that my daughter and her cousin performed at. And who comes through the door as the grand? I didn't even know. So I'm going, wow, I'm in bed screaming, wow. So yes, this is a great opportunity. I'm honored to introduce her, Michelle Mimi Gibson.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna try not to cry because you just don't know, that was so emotional to me, because what's important is it's real. It's so real. And I think those of us who left after Katrina to never return, not to return in our spirits, but physically not return, and still on the outskirts trying to hold down the preservation with you, to hear you say those words is justification for me. It's confirmation for me. And I thank you and I love you so much.
No worries.
So, okay, I got a question for you. What is the last thing you did to decompress? Oh, Lord. Let me hear this one.
Probably was today. I had a performance. I didn't know what to expect with the performance, but when I arrived, it was pre-K, kindergarten, children. Oh, there's something about being around children that just really impresses you, allows you to connect. They're the future, but there's such vessels that want you to pour into them. So yes. I had a wonderful, it was so pleasant, because I was just thinking, I got to hurry up and get back in town and do this Sankofa talk. But the whole while I was there, they brought me great joy. When you see a child's eyes light up, looking into your spirit, and you're singing to them about Black is so beautiful, and it's so beautiful, beautiful to be Black. And they're singing with their eyes closed.
Yes.
I love it. That had me very relaxed. So I'm great. And I'm grateful.
Ashe. It's something about the little ones at that age too.
Yeah.
Mama, that's why they haven't been infected yet with the buffoonery of the world. Right? And so the purity at that age is what's beautiful. And it reminds us, right?
That's right.
It reminds us. Let me see. What did I do today? What was the last thing I did to decompress? You know what? It's interesting. Since the pandemic has happened, I have not been able to find myself in a building at church, like in the building itself. So I've been consistently working on ways to still keep myself connected to spirit. And so this morning I had Holy Communion with myself and God.
That's right.
And I had my bread and I had my wine and I prayed and I went back to my daddy church for Holy Communion with myself. So that was my decompressed moment. That was my decompressed moment.
Amen. And the church said amen.
Let the church say. No, how you say? Let the church say
amen.
Yes. All right. So this Sankofa Talk, I think if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they are wanting to know things about Mardi Gras. And what's interesting about this topic in particular is there's so many avenues, right? Is that why?
Yeah.
That you can look at what Mardi Gras means to New Orleans? Yes or no?
Oh, that's definitely accurate. You know, the world sees it one way, but if you're a
Yes.
local and you're participating, it's so much more than just the parades with the beads and the Indians coming out. It's about the communing of people. You know, for example, if you go to a particular parade every year, there's certain people who go to the same spot every year.
Every
And so
year.
every year they look for the people. They're not relatives. It's just people who share the same sentiment with them. So it's that connection. Then if you are a participant, maybe you ride on a float or you mask as an Indian, it's all the preparation. But the preparation is not an empty preparation. It is the anticipation of the ancestral energy that's about to happen. For Black masking Indians, if you don't know, it's about Black Americans giving honor to indigenous Africans, indigenous Indians who took them in during the time of slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love sharing that story because they took them in because they were hiding from the slave captures. Well, you can't hide with people who you don't look like. So the indigenous people
Right.
were people who look like us. So when you analyze it from that particular lens, then it becomes apparent that this is Egun work. It's ancestral. It is a time
Ashe.
where you're paying honor to those ancestors. And
Ashe.
so we don't do many ancestral days in the United States. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we have Martin Luther King. That's an ancestral day when people think about him. And I Have a Dream speech. But for the Black community, it's not many. It's just not many. And in New Orleans, we have Tootie Montana Day. And
Ashe.
then we have this whole day where people are preparing. Like right now, I'm sewing. Right now in New Orleans, there are hundreds of people doing exactly what I'm doing right now, getting
Ashe.
prepared to hit the streets on March the 1st. And so it is the love and the support that you get from your people. People are coming up and you sew. You're not paying them. They want to see you get out. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you get out, smile on their faces, the pride that they exude that they had a hand in when you hit those streets. So I like how you phrase that. There's so many layers you can come from. You know, my mother's 86. She should go to school. She doesn't like Mardi Gras. She thinks Mardi Gras is dangerous. There's too many people. But when I come to her door with my game, she comes
Mm.
out the street, out the house with the walker, and she do her little jig and she go back inside and she's extremely happy. So I think there's something to be said about unmasking the superficial layer of carnival. You know, yes, we
Mm-hmm.
having a great time, but there's something deeper happening underneath that layer. Because I've certainly
Yeah,
grown from being that kid trying to catch a bead, to where I am now, So how was it for you,
definitely.
Michelle, when you're not here in New Orleans, and you know Mardi Gras is going down? How does that make you feel?
That is a question, man. That is a question. Since 2005, which was Hurricane Katrina, the moment that shifted all of our lives forever, um, I think what I would want people to understand is that even though I am not at home in the physical, I have never for 1 second detached myself from the spiritual components of what home has given to me. And so I think that says a lot for your conviction, right? It's a
Right.
lot of people who say, I'm from New Orleans, I'm from New Orleans. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to live it, even if you're home or on the outskirts. And so that's why everything that I have done as it relates to my education, as it relates to my teaching practice, as it relates to my choreographic forms, has always been connected to home. Period. I have not, because you know what I realized, Asetwa? One of the things that's special about who we are is that together, the gathering of people together is a part of our sacred space. We don't do things solo. we express it through groups of people together. And so I try to preserve that grouping of people and gathering of people on the outskirts of where the city is. Because at the end of the day, who is better to do that than people who are born and raised in our city?
Exactly.
I'm not, my thing is, I'm not throwing no shade to others that have come to the city and done their research and made their documentaries, but you want to get the voice from the people. That's the most authentic voice. And so for me, I have spent years dealing with depression to some kind of degree, of not being home for things that I know I have been home for, right?
Right.
So it's an everyday kind of struggle, but I still support. You know me. I be sending my energy and love, sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. I
So
hear that because it's hard to get New Orleans. If you native born here, 504. It's just I don't care where you go. You're constantly comparing how home is where you are. I love New York City. There's not a more exciting place, but it ain't New Orleans. It's not.
it's not. It's
California, beautiful
not.
energy. It's not New Orleans. And New Orleans is, I find that the places that have the most challenges to the survival of people, both on the socioeconomic front, education, healthcare, food, housing, for some reason, the manifestation of their spirit that comes out through creativity is so significantly stronger than people who are in other areas where they may not have those challenges. I'm not saying we want to suffer so we can be creative, but it's it's
Right,
it's a
right.
it's testament to people and their ability to survive and thrive and to continue to create in spite of all of those challenges that are on their neck that other people wouldn't even try to live. There are people right now who trying to move out of New Orleans because the crime is bad, the shootings and the streets. I don't know about y'all. Streets is tore up. They tore up here, right? And the back police, the education system. So, I mean, I can give you a litany of things that are not going right. But I have never got to the point where I want to say, well, it's time for me to leave. Oh no, I'm not going anywhere. New Orleans is my
Right.
home. And the celebration of Carnival is like the big moment to really express that. Like to express
It's a
how much you love the city, how much you love being a part of it.
it's an expression of identity, right? And what people don't understand is that depending on who brought you up, who was your mom and daddy, and how you was raised, really defined how you celebrated Mardi Gras, right?
Right.
And so I say that as a preacher's daughter whose daddy's church was on the corner of Cadiz and Coliseum uptown, all of my Mardi Gras experiences were experienced mostly uptown, right? Which means that's them families that come out early in the morning at 5 in the morning, a.m.,
Right.
and they set up their little location with their little ladders and everything. And so that's a different experience uptown than it is under the bridge on St. Bernard and
Right.
Claiborne. It's a
Exactly.
different. And so people think that when they say Mardi Gras, that's a like general definition of the entire city, and it's not, because it's different based on the expression of the identity, which is a radical resilience in action, right? And so my uptown experience, I didn't experience sitting out in front of Big Chief house for 3 hours until he was ready to come out. I didn't experience that until I was in college, because I was standing next to the little people with the little ladders all my life, and everything. So the identity of what Mardi Gras is in New Orleans, it differs based on the expression of that group's identity, right? And the actions. Yeah. So, okay, the next question. So, in what ways, or Setwa Amor Amin Kun, are you intentionally passing on cultural traditions to the younger generation?
Well, it's interesting. Okay, I'm the big queen of the Washita Nation. David
Pretty.
Montana is my chief. I've been dancing with Shaka Zulu for over 30 years, and Shaka is the big chief of Golden Feather.
Ashe.
Kevin Goodman is the big chief of the Flaming Arrows.
Mhm.
But for some reason, all the queens that they work with, young girls, they send them to me to give them that talk. Because I remember when I started masking 18 years ago, there wasn't really anybody who I spoke to on the surface at first. I think it was purely ancestral for me. And then because I was an artist, I knew how to move in that circle. But it became significantly more important to communicate and convene with other females in the tradition, because as we know,
Yes.
Mardi Gras is a predominantly male-dominated
Male-dominated.
society.
Yes.
Only in recent years have you seen the rise of women just moving to the forefront.
Right.
We now have an organization called Queens of the Nation, and we organized that just for that reason, so that we would not just meet each other on Mardi Gras Day. We want to get to know the queens before that. So when I see young girls who want to mask, want to come out, but for some reason or another, there's nobody in their tribe able to give them that assistance, that's where I step in. As a matter of fact, I have a scheduled meeting the Saturday before Mardi Gras, where I'm bringing about 7 young ladies together. And we're going to talk about what it means to be a queen when you're masked. You know, any fears or apprehensions they may have about hitting the streets. It can be overwhelming. All of these people around you, it could be pretty energy-wise. We have to understand that we are spiritual people having a physical experience. So everything is spiritual. So when you hit the streets, you got all this energy coming at you. And if you don't know how to process that, it could really freak you out. It could freak you out. That's one thing that I have a granddaughter, and I don't pull the heart as much as I can. It's that dynamic. When you get home, they just they're resistant. They want to, well, she's 12 going on 13. So, I'm dealing with all
already.
That.
She's about to be a teenager.
Yeah, she's about to be 13, honey.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
she's grown, beautiful, and all. I can't believe aliens like that. No, I can't.
She
But
is
time doesn't
22.
wait for us, Yeah,
It
see?
It does.
And like I said, I had a performance there with young people, with children. I teach at Tulane University, and I enjoy that opportunity. But I really feel contribution when I work with the youth, the younger ones, because that's the ones that we need to really capture. But because of where the world is now, I am embracing opportunities to work with older youth, because we just can't say, oh, it's too late for them. We still got to interact. We still got to intervene. And I'm a big proponent of dance has to move out of its arena just being dance for dance sake. It's got to connect to some social issues. We gotta, like right now, my issue now is formerly and currently incarcerated women. So I work through that arena, but it's gotta attach to something, because dance, African dance, in its traditional sense, was attached to community. It wasn't just dance to be dancing. And so now, because dance is so powerful, Michelle, you demonstrate that the watching someone dance speaks to the soul, in which words can't reach. Words can't reach it. Sometimes music doesn't reach it. But it's something about that moving of the body that interacts and actually changes the environment. Metaphysically, this is real talk. This is not something that just sounds good. It's the truth. This is why the performance, you may be moved to tears because the person touched you in a way. So I'm really supporting opportunity. Dance can be used in collaboration with other services to particularly assist our young people. So that's what I'm doing. I right now I'm doing a lot of the Indian stuff because that is where I am right now. But the African stuff is still pretty prevalent. So what are you doing, Michelle?
What am I doing? What don't I do? Well, I am an educator. I am a dance educator, and I've been a dance educator for started teaching, really assistant teaching when I was 13 with Evelyn Fields and Kai Knight. I was, I was up under them, learning the practice of teaching. Um, and Miss Fields, Milton School of Dance. I don't know if you know Miss Fields, her dancing school. She stayed off of Leander's and Jeanette. And in the back of her house, she had a little shed, and that's where the dancing school was. So a lot of people don't know. I didn't start off at a dancing school with nice marley floors and glass windows around, and it was in a seniors, a elders, little garage. And Kai Knight was a part of that. And so education for me has been a means that I have been able to pass on the experiences. I'm not even going to say the knowledge, right? Because when people say knowledge, sometimes that puts them into this scholarship place that
Right.
that takes away from the authenticness of what something really is, right? And so I have been teaching young people about the importance of culture as a lived experience, right? Because this is the thing. Culture is hot. Culture is commercialized. Culture is a fad. Culture is a fashion. But that's only for people who have never lived in it, right? But for us, I'm able to educate based on my lived experiences. And that's why, like, if people only knew my whole story, like going from being a student at NOCA, right? And then in the afternoon going to rehearsal with Kai, or going to rehearsal with in Kafo, or going with Kambuka, what it is, Casa Samba. All of those groups are what I utilize as experiences to teach my children, right? And I can only teach what I lived. I don't teach nothing I ain't lived. If I ain't lived it, and I don't, it's something I haven't researched myself to go find out, I don't teach it. So I use education as a means of like radical change for what it really is. And so I teach all kinds of children. My children is a Rainbow Coalition. I'm at Booker T. Washington High School right now, and it's a conservatory type of high school. And so what does culture look like in a conservatory? In a space where people are trying to create new verbiage for what something already is.
Right.
So what I do is I take it back. I say, well, before it was called twerking, it was called pee-popping, right? Before, and what was that? Pee-popping was a part of the bounce era. So I make sure that I tell the origins of what I know it to be. Also being a Grand Marshal, a New Orleans Grand Marshal. And you said something earlier that I think is very important for people to know. Mardi Gras culture and culture as it relates to social aid and pleasure clubs, right, was a dominated placement for male figures.
Right.
It was always about the big chief. It was always about the Grand Marshal, who was a man. And so I also look at talking about the women of the culture in 2022. Like, what does that look like? And how we are serving the community in ways that go far beyond the commercial look.
Right.
That part. So mine is through education, and also like standing tall as a Grand Marshal. Mama Wanda Ruzan, who was the only female Grand Marshal that I knew growing up. I came home one time and I had a talk with her, and she was like, "You know what, Michelle, I've been watching you. You're doing the work." I bestow upon you. And when she said bestow, I could have passed out. I said, you go bestow it. That's honorable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I do it through education and through storytelling of the origins of what really is based on how I and my community have experienced it. I share.
I think that
Yeah.
we also too have to look at all the ways that we pass things on. Many times we think of it in a structured environment, but sometimes it's informal. Sometimes you're at the
Yes.
grocery store and someone looks at you and they go, "Oh, I like your bangles, your braces. Where you get them from?" And that becomes a moment, where you're talking to them about the purpose of them and why I wear
Of it.
them. And
Yes.
or they ask you
Yes.
about your clothes or your hat or your name, or they say,
Yes.
"I saw you. You look familiar." Blah blah blah. So sometimes it's not those structured moments. Sometimes it's
Right.
those very informal, spontaneous moments we get, and that we can actually pass things on. That's why I'm always mindful. I tell people, when you are a Black Indian queen, it doesn't just mean you're a queen on Mardi Gras Day. You really have to conduct yourself like that 365. People are always watching, and I can't tell you how many people they might not know my name, but they know me, and I'm in the store or on the streets. "Hey, queen," get that. It's a reminder. Okay, I gotta walk this walk. I gotta talk it, walk it, and live it. It can't just be, "Oh, I'm just a queen for the day." I can't be this shallow thing, because I'm reminded. If one thing COVID taught me, reminded how precious moments are. Moments are so precious. And it used to be here today, gone tomorrow. It's here today, gone today. So I have to ask myself, so what am I doing in this moment?
Yes.
To make my environment better, my community better,
Yes.
my life better, my family better? How am I making a difference? So you got to seize every moment without looking like a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just be all the time geared up to give somebody something. But you have to just be open and ready to receive it,
Right. And it's something, that's why real quick, my father, my preacher daddy used to always say, some are called, some are chosen, and some just go. And I think the title, which is not about titles. I can't when people get caught up into titles, that's when they forget about purpose, right?
Right.
But the identity of being a big queen and a grand marshal as women says that there is a certain anointing that has been given to us. Because let's just be factual. You have a lot of people that are born in it, but don't really know how to talk about it.
Exactly.
There's no indifference to it. There's no judgment to it. But there's some of us that the Most High and that the ancestors have given this anointing to, that we're able to walk in a way where the languaging of it is common. It's a regular conversation. I don't need no preparation. You don't need no preparation to talk about how it walks, right? How it looks, how it feels. Also, too, inside that anointing, we're still human. So what people don't understand, every day we are always processing how to walk the talk. And that's a process. That's like going to your altar every single day. Lord, forgive me. Because knowing I want to just go off on it, I want to go off just now. But I have to remember. I have to remember what my calling is. But because I am human, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like that tussle between being called and being human. That thing. You hear? That's why. Okay, y'all know this is live and in color. So technical difficulties is just what it is. You just gotta roll with it. Mm-hmm. That's why. Okay. So we're gonna wait until there she is. You back? You back?
Yeah, I had a phone you got. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay. It's all right, sugar. That's life.
we
It's
was
things
just
happen.
getting good.
It was good,
We was
but we
getting
still
good.
here. We still here. All right, so we
Right.
gonna go into this whole show and tell thingy, which is 2 photos that we've shared with Sankofa Talks that we are supposed to expand on, I guess, what this picture represents for us. And so I think Mama Setsawa picture was up first. If we can bring her photo back, that would be wonderful.
I sent one photo and a video.
Here it is. You sent what you sent in, baby?
Well, that photo. I sent the photo and a video. I only sent one photo. So this photo was taken for an exhibit. The person who did the exhibit was focused. He called it the New Tribe, the New Tribe, and around the country, taking photos of women, Black women, throughout the United States. And I don't even know how he got my name, but I had to have a whole makeup session and stuff. Ooh, I was like, yeah. I had, they put my little eyes on,
I see, baby. That makeup is beat.
mascara. I'm not a person. I come from the school, put some, you good to go. Okay. And I really like
No,
this.
no,
It's
tell the
probably
truth.
one of
Wait,
my
tell the truth.
Say it again.
It's really Vaseline. It's Vaseline. It ain't no lipstick. It's a little Vaseline.
Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of stuff. But when I took this picture, he kept wanting me to smile like cheesy, and I was like, I don't want to do a cheesy smile. Can I just look? Can I just look? And then he worked with me. So that's what this picture represents. It represents that moment where I think every woman deserves a moment where they feel like they full of themselves. If I could just speak like Oshun for a minute, hold the mirror
Yes.
up. I'm full of myself.
Yes.
It don't mean no disrespect or no. I'm not trying to dim your light. I'm just full of me. So that's what this photo represents. I didn't send a lot of other photos. I have buku. I take lots of pictures, but I just sent this one in. I thought this one was appropriate to share. I think it represents how I look at things, because I'm always in the process of meditating, focusing. So I think this picture kind of shows that.
I think for me, when I look at this photo, I see a visionary. I think I've always seen you as a visionary as it relates to your spiritual and cultural practices. You're not afraid to see what's coming in front of you, right? Not really knowing what's going to come, but you're not afraid to see it as it's coming. That's what I mean, as it's coming to you. And so to be able to gaze with such confidence and authority is for me is what I walk behind, right? That's the type of women, that I'm reminded that when I look forward, not to be afraid of what I see, even if it's not the prettiest, even if it's gonna hurt a little bit, even what I see,
right.
if what I see may hurt me a little bit, not being afraid to see it and be able to stand in it accordingly. So this picture, just your eyes, like they're focused in position to say, you know what, God, ancestors, I don't know how you're gonna work this one out. I see something happening and coming, but I'm gonna stand strong in it. I'm ready for the job. I received the memo. That's what I see when I see this picture. Ashe. So yeah, okay. Little
That little picture
Michelle.
is so cute.
So, this photo was taken. That's why I don't know if you know. I used to play the piano.
No, I didn't know that.
So my daddy had this big fancy dream of me being the organist for the church at some point. Now you know, sitting behind the piano, that was not that was not the plan. So he made my mama put me in piano lessons, and this was my first piano recital.
Oh
That little
wow.
dress, that was my first piano recital, and I don't know. I guess for me, I can never negate the fact that I am a preacher's daughter, that I was raised sitting on the front pew every Sunday, that I was a part of the YPD, which was the Young People's Department. I sung in the
Yes.
choir. I had to go to vacation Bible school every summer.
Oh
I
yes.
had
Oh
to,
yes.
I was on the young usher board.
Yeah.
I help I helped the deaconess prepare the table for communion on first Sundays. This picture is a representation of that life that I had to live every day, like
Oh
every single day. And that's my connection to what culture in New Orleans looks like, because what a lot of people don't know is being a part of the culture also means looking at your religious background and your
yes,
upbringing.
exactly.
And a lot of us, majority of us, was raised in the Black church, the Black
Right.
Catholic church, the Black Baptist church, the Black Methodist church. So the whole idea of us being a part of a gathering ain't no big deal, because that's something that we look forward to, communion, right?
Right.
So this picture was that was innocence. That was me loving to be a PK. You know, that was me learning in the early years how to lead, because I had to learn how to lead early, right? You know, when the guest churches used to come to my daddy church, I always had to do the welcome.
Oh yes.
How how I start off first, giving obedience to God, who's
First,
the
my
head of
obedience
my
is
life,
the head of my life,
to the
to the
pastor,
pastors,
officer.
members, and officers. Yeah.
Come on, of this church. I, I greet you in the powerful and magnificent name of Jesus. Remember that?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
So,
indeed.
so to be a grand marshal and lead as I'm leading now is just a part of the construction of what I was brought up in.
Mhm.
So that's this little picture, sugar.
It's funny that you bring up well, not funny, but it's auspicious that the connection of the church in New Orleans culture, because New Orleans is a Catholic city. Even if you was Baptist, we still celebrated Catholic rituals.
Yes,
Matter of fact, the Mardi Gras, which is the day before Lent begins, we go into this 40 days of union, and prayer to
yes,
prepare for Easter. So the
yes,
biggest day on the planet in the United States, where people are, getting decadent and appearing to just throw all to the wind, is actually tied into a religious holiday.
yes, yes. And so that's the part. That's why I say when you talk about Mardi Gras, there's so many different components based on the social and economical staging of who we are in the city, is how you define what all these things are to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Um,
correct.
and as for like growing up in the church, even though I wasn't Catholic, I attended a Catholic high school. I went to Xavier Preparatory,
Mm-hmm.
Catholic all-girl high school, which is one of the two Black Catholic institutions in New Orleans, which is Xavier Prep and St. Mary's. But I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Catholic, right? I was
Right.
Methodist,
Mm-hmm.
but the ritual remained the same. I just
Exactly.
had to, that standing up and kneeling. I ain't gonna lie, my little knees was hurting a little bit. My little knees, the standing and the standing, and I just, but it was still respected. It was still respected because it was a part of a ritual, and we all understand the reverence. That's what it is, the reverence that we have to have and that we must have to be a part of anything as it relates to New Orleans. You know, so
one of these. Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that one of the days Indians, as you know, traditionally the Indians only come out for Mardi Gras. We come out for Mardi Gras. We come out for
St. John's
Super Sunday, and we come out for St. Joseph's night.
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph, a Catholic saint.
Look, I know it was a G. Forgive me, it was a G. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that religious thing is definitely a backdrop and undercurrent to that.
So the whole thing is, this whole conversation, I think, stems around for us looking at Mardi Gras from the Black experience, right? Which is two different dynamic shifts of the radical resilience in our action, like to be radical, like how radical we are. And we're maintaining Africanist rituals and lifestyles and ceremony on a daily. And one thing I tell people all the time, when I start off my little lecture, I say, what you have to understand that New Orleans is Mother Africa in the USA, right?
Right.
We are that one city that we don't talk about it too much, unless we're asked to, like now, but we live it, right?
Exactly.
We live the language, we live the food, we live the dance, the music, the call and response, the worship. And so there's nowhere else in the USA that you can get that authentic connection as far as what Africa represents, right?
That's right.
That's Mardi Gras to me.
Just think, I had an aunt that passed last month from DC, and I went to the funeral, and it was so dead. Excuse the pun. It was just flat. It wasn't celebratory. It wasn't sad. It was just emptiness. And I was like, wow, I know you cannot base all of your experiences on where you're from, but the same token, there's an expectation, that I have. And it just was not there, Mardi Gras is such a, oh my God. I remember being a kid, because, for Mardi Gras, okay, that was a big thing in the Black community. Number one, you had to get your new Sears Roebuck jeans and your new tennis shoes. Baby, don't play with them.
Don't play with
clean. You have to get your clothes.
So and your treats on.
People had their best clothes on,
Yes.
And that was special. The only other time we did something that was so special was Easter Sunday, right? When you got baptized. So Mardi Gras was right up there with all those other rituals that are very important. Graduation, but you had to get them new clothes. You had to get those new clothes.
Because it's a preparation, right? One thing about Black folks in New Orleans is we know how to prepare. We know that if something is gonna happen, we got to get some things together before we even get to the event, get to the happening, right? So like, not only did we get a new outfit, but we got our hair done, we got our nails done.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And what we did, we walked. Hold on, what people don't know is on Mardi Gras morning, the very first parade that happens is the Zulu parade at 8 a.m. in the morning. That starts at what? They used to start at Claiborne and go down Jackson Avenue.
Yes, so I said Claiborne, MLK goes to Jackson to Canal, Canal to Orleans.
Colonel St. Charles.
Right.
That morning, if people could only see the gathering just early that morning, and it's hard for folks to get up early in the morning, but we made sure we set our clocks, be like, okay, I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m. What time you gonna meet me? I'm gonna be here at this time. And we was sharp, and we would walk. Hold on, what people don't know, Setwa, is that we would walk from Jackson down St. Charles, cross Canal to find ourselves under the bridge on St. Bernard. That was a ritual.
Yes, indeed. You better know it.
That's what Mardi Gras is for us.
Right, right.
It
And you
ain't
just
no
want to
flash,
see your
no shirt.
people. You know,
Yeah.
and it should be noted that, you know, the reason why we gather the way we gather is because Mardi Gras was not open to everybody in New Orleans. Mardi Gras was the big celebration was white people. We couldn't even
Yes,
go
it
down the
was.
canal street. You know, we couldn't be in their parades. So we do what we normally do. We recreate, we reinvent, and we do what we do for us. And then now the Mardi Gras in the black community is just as large as the Mardi Gras on Canal Street, and people are coming into our neighborhoods because Mardi Indians, baby dolls, skull and bones, second line bands, they're all creating in neighborhoods. It's about a neighborhood thing. Everybody is
Yes.
in neighborhoods. So now people are coming into our neighborhood to experience what we're experiencing for Mardi Gras. Matter of fact, I can't tell you the last time I've been on Canal Street. I don't even go down there at all for Mardi Gras or the French Quarters. That's not my Mardi Gras for me. You know, my Mardi
Right.
Gras is
In the
Orleans and
hood, in the neighborhood.
Claiborne, you know, down in the heart. Because I'm a downtown. If I was uptown,
Right.
I'd be going up to Shakespeare. Well, it's not Shakespeare Park. I think it's the names change. But you go to Shakespeare Park. Everybody's got their gathering places. I would
Right.
love to see an aerial view of the city on Mardi Gras just to see how the crowds
Have a
and what
right.
neighborhoods that they're actually gathering in.
Right. And you know, one thing people never give us credit for is that even when we're located in our location under St. Bernard or on St. Bernard under the bridge, and others come to be a part of that, others, we never say, no, you can't be here.
Right, right.
We never put you out. We always open our arms and welcome you in, and you start, walking with us and dancing. This is the thing that I ask, and this is going to be my last comment for this Sankofa talk. My thing is that when you come into our city, come respectfully. Come respectfully in reverence. There may be some things that no, you cannot be a part of, but there is always a communal engagement where it's a universal human form of expression that everybody is a part of, but there is something very sacred as far as the ritual when it comes to who we are and what we do individually. Ashe.
That's a good point. I'm glad that's a perfect segue to me because the impact that gentrification has had on Mardi Gras celebrations has been really significant because many people are no longer living in those neighborhoods. They have been
Right.
eliminated by a process of out raising the rent of the
Gentrification.
houses. Yes. So
Hmm.
Mardi
Hmm.
Gras Day is actually a homecoming. People come back. They come back to be the city, even though they might not live in that neighborhood anymore. But there's a nostalgia because New Orleans
Yeah.
is very territorial. We represent
Yes.
our neighborhoods, we represent our wards, and we still talk about, oh, that used to be so and so. It might be an apartment building now. Oh, that used to be K&B. Oh, no, that used to be McDonald 19. Oh, no, that used to be, and we
Yes.
still have that memory. It's still in
Right.
our brain.
Right.
And so your statement is really significant because I think it's not the fault of the person who bought the house in a neighborhood that was up for rent that they just, got access to.
Right.
But, and I've never moved to another place, but there is a way that I know you enter community.
Right.
And there is some resentment that people have because of the gentrification, because of people's inability to be in their neighborhoods. And I was really concerned for the Black masking tradition. I didn't know after Katrina were we going to have it because so many people moved to Texas, Florida, Atlanta. But then I found out they was coming home. They come home. They come home for it. And then
Yeah.
they go back. And then they come
Yeah.
home. So
Yeah. So our prayer is that as much as people get excited about our city, you must understand the resilience of who we are And the reason why we worship like we do, and the reason why we are so territorial, is because we maintain it as an everyday lifestyle. It ain't no show and tell, and even with me not being physically present, I'm still gonna hold it down right with you. I'm gonna
Right.
hold it down right with you. I love you, Osetwa. You are a woman that I walk behind, and I walk behind with my head up high as a woman of
Ashe.
culture, as a woman culture
Ashe.
ambassador. I thank you, and the work continues, and we're gonna continue doing what we do.
And because you are who you are, Michelle, I feel confident that the future is in good hands. And so it is.
And so it is. Much love. Continue sewing,
Peace.
sugar. I know you gonna be sewing bead by bead.
One at a
Sequence.
time.